Welcome back to the Bill and Doug Show. Ohio State versus Grambling State on Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Ohio Stadium on the Big Ten Network. Jeff Levering, Jake Butt, Brooke Fletcher on the call. Landis, you'll be there. I'll be in the home office.
Mm-hmm.
We will have a live post-game show right when this thing ends. And we'll probably be talking about a lot of Ohio State backups, yes?
That is my anticipation. Yeah, we'll be talking about the highlights of a lot of young guys, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to wind up making a pick here. Is there still no line as we record this, as
Yes.
far as we know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because we ran into this problem, I think 2 years ago when Ohio State played. Was it Youngstown State 2 years
Youngstown
ago?
State in 23.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they put out FBS versus FCS lines until either Friday or Saturday morning. So they usually come out late. Yeah.
50 would be my guess. I think it was 50 when they played Florida A&M in 2013.
Yeah, probably.
That might be a little hot. We're actually going to get a decent representation of the change in the clock rules, I think, in fewer possessions. And I have the numbers from when they played Florida A&M, which is last historically black college FCS school they played, and that was 76-0 in 2013. So we'll get a sense about that. We have some stuff to run through, a little bit about Grambling State, a little bit about what we think we might want to see from Ohio State. So let's do that. This game was only scheduled last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? You remember that?
I do, yeah.
They canceled a game against UConn that was scheduled for October 18th of this year. So it's kind of weird that they had a game scheduled for the middle of Big Ten season, which they almost never do. I'm a little curious even why they decided. It's a two bye week season, so you have a little more wiggle room. But like for instance, they changed the schedule in June of 24, and then the Big Ten put out its schedule in December of 24, like what the dates actually are. So they're playing Wisconsin on October 18th. So I don't know if that motivated it. UConn's playing Syracuse this week, and I think the line's like a 7-point game. Mm-hmm. So UConn would have been a substantially more of a test than Grambling State, but also they were never playing UConn now. And I get why they canceled UConn, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder, I don't recall when the UConn thing was scheduled. I wonder if they were, because sometimes you get an early Big Ten game, and then the Big Ten schedule got like all changed around, right? So I wonder if they were anticipating playing a Big Ten game early this year, so they had to play it. But yeah, I've never covered an Ohio State non-conference game that wasn't in September. So playing UConn in October would have been really weird.
So Grambling State is getting $1 million to play this game, which actually is a little light, frankly. If Ohio State was trying to do something late, I think Grambling maybe could have held out for more money. OU's getting 1.9 in week 3. And when Ohio State played Florida A&M in 2013, they gave Florida A&M $900,000. So Grambling's only getting $100,000 more 12 years later. Inflation's more than that.
It's TV eyeballs, I would imagine, right? And they're probably like Ohio State OU. You'll probably fill the shoe, right? I don't even know people. Yeah. I don't want to make Ohio University fans angry. I don't know if they actually call it OU, but like you're not going to fill the shoe for this game.
Yeah,
against Grambling.
But at least, I don't know. I think they should like 1.2. So their AD should walk up to Ross and Saturday and be like, give us a little more. We need it. I know when I wrote this, I was trying to look. I think it's probably about right, except it just even more expanded. Like $900,000 in 2013. I wrote that was 10% of Florida A&M's budget, and it was 1% of Ohio State's budget. Like less than 1%. And now it's $1 million is a 0.5%, is 0.35% of Ohio State's budget, and it's really important to Grambling State. So anyway.
This makes me want to look now. If you've never been to the shoe, could be a week for it.
Oh, you're looking at ticket prices?
I'm looking at SeatGeek, and there's like $38 tickets and
go. It's the fall has been lovely.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be really nice. Yeah.
Go experience the shoe. The shoe's the same. Ohio State wears the same helmets. They still have Buckeye leaves on them. They still do the same intro. The band still plays the same way. They still come out of the tunnel. You get everything's the same, and then you're going to see them score a bunch of touchdowns. Go. Take your kid.
Go down. They'll go down too, closer to the game.
Go with your coworkers. Go round up people in the neighborhood. Get grandma and grandpa. Find long lost friends. Go take a picture in front of the Archie statue. Go to the shoe. And I only say this as someone who, when I was growing up in Pennsylvania, only got to go to games when it was games like this. And guess what? I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was at the game. So, and I know still it's, anyway, it would be fantastic if some people who don't normally get to go to games get to go to this game. Mickey Joseph is the head coach of Grambling State. He was the interim coach at Nebraska, the interim head coach when Scott Frost got fired, although he's actually a Louisiana guy. He coached in Louisiana practically his whole life and was at Nebraska for 1 year, and everything blew up. And I'm sure he was like, what did I get myself into? And then he went back. So he's been at Grambling State. It's a reminder, Hugh Jackson is not the coach at Grambling State. He was, and then he went 3-8 and 5-6 and got fired. The former Browns coach got fired as the coach at Grambling State. Mickey Joseph is in his second year. And he said, I watched his news conference. He says, we know what we're getting ourselves into. We know why we're playing this game. And he means money.
Yeah. Mickey Joseph played a role in LSU landing Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mickey Joseph is a former Nebraska quarterback. And when Joe transferred to LSU, Mickey was LSU's receivers coach. And part of the reason they liked LSU is because there were two assistants on staff, Bill Bush, who had been at Ohio State, and Mickey Joseph, who had been at Nebraska. And Joe's family obviously is a bunch of Nebraska people. So like that connection helped a little bit.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Wonder why you did that research. That's good stuff, Landis. You should put that in a podcast. So Mickey Joseph knows what's up. He also said it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. So he knows what he wants out of his team. Eddie Robinson. This is one of those things. Initially, maybe my assumption would be that if you're watching a college football show, you know who Eddie Robinson is, but that might be wrong, Bill. There might be very dedicated, educated, loyal college football fans, Ohio State fans who aren't exactly sure who Eddie Robinson is.
Or maybe you know the name, right, because of the award that is named in his honor, but don't 100% know why there's an award named in his honor.
Yeah. He was the head coach at Grambling State, the university. The college went through some name changes while he was there. He was the head coach in 41 and 42. Then he wasn't for a couple of years. Then he was the head coach from 1945 to 1997. He was the head coach at Grambling State for 56 years. He went 408, 165, and 15. And at a time before lots of college football programs were recruiting black players, you have to remember that there were some northern schools that integrated, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. There were SEC schools that did not integrate and have its first black players until the 60s or maybe even the early 70s. So at that time, Eddie Robinson was offering opportunity to black football players to come play high-quality college football, and he was dominating. So if you think about Grambling State now, you have to think about what it was and the role it served at that time in American history and the kind of players that he got through there. 408 career wins. And the other name, again, that to me is like, well, everybody knows this, and probably not everybody knows this. Doug Williams, Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, is a Grambling State grad. And so like a Grambling State quarterback has won the Super Bowl. So like this is what we're talking about. It is a long college football history. It's just maybe not something that every 25-year-old college football fan knows about.
No, and I think there you work hard to find like interesting things to talk about, right, when a game like this happens. And I don't think any of us is expecting anything close or anything near a close football game on Saturday. But I do like the opportunity sometimes that games like this can present for people to like learn a little bit about the history of the game if you choose to. And Grambling certainly plays a big part in that.
I think Eddie Robinson and Woody Hayes are two of the 10 most important college football coaches in history.
Yeah, I think you're right.
408 career wins. I wonder if anybody has more wins than that.
Like one more?
Like one more. Do the thing that everybody does.
What's the thing that everybody does?
Tell the Ohio State fans about why 409, like what everybody with Penn State and Joe Paterno and everything.
Oh, it's just like like 409 is like a thing. It's like a shorthand. There's like bumper stickers with 409. Audrey Snyder, who covers Penn State as well as anybody, better than anybody on the Penn State beat. Like anytime she sees 409 out in the wild, she takes note of it because that's how many games Joe Pa won to pass Eddie Robinson.
Yeah. So Eddie Robinson, this is any division of college football. Eddie Robinson's third now. When he retired, he was first. He had 408. Joe Paterno, was that it? Was Joe Paterno like, don't suspend me yet. I got to get to Eddie Robinson. Is that how that went?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So Joe Paterno got to 409, and the leader is John Gagliardi with 489 for most of them at Division III, St. John's, Minnesota.
St. John's, yeah.
So anyway, that's where. So anyway, but Ryan Day on Wednesday said that Larry Johnson spoke to the team about Eddie Robinson because Eddie Robinson had some influence on Larry Johnson's coaching life. Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, "Here's how long Ryan Day has to coach to get to 409 wins." And I don't want to do that math. Yeah, Larry Johnson. The way Ryan Day explained it is Larry Johnson came to him and said, "I'd like to speak to the team a little bit about Eddie Robinson." And the story that Larry Johnson, I guess, told the team was that he had heard Eddie Robinson at some point in his life give a talk at a coach's clinic, and that is what made Larry Johnson want to become a football coach. He also played for Herman Boone of Remember the Titans fame, so I imagine that also had some influence on Larry Johnson wanting to be a head coach. But Larry Johnson is one of the most influential African-American football coaches that have been around. So for him to hold that kind of affinity for Eddie Robinson certainly is not surprising. But again, I just think it's good for the Ohio State football players, I think, to learn about that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure many of them didn't know who Eddie Robinson was.
Remember the Rushmen. Should do that.
That's right.
Remember the Rushmen. The Football Writers Association of America, of which we are members, although I often forget to send in my dues. I'm not sure that I'm a current member in good standing. I might have forgotten to send in my money.
Former president, no longer.
Former president. Worst president ever. They hand out a Coach of the Year award. They've been handing it out since 1957. In 1997, they named that award for Eddie Robinson. So they have the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award. And do you know which school has the most winners ever of the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award?
Is it the Ohio State Buckeyes?
It is the Ohio State Buckeyes. 5. Woody Hayes won it 3 times. Actually, Woody Hayes won the inaugural award in 1957. Now, again, this is before it was named for Eddie Robinson because they're peers. Woody won it in 57, 68, and 75. Earl Bruce won it in 79, and then Tress won it in 2002. So, and you know what? Now I actually want to look this up because I was looking it up. Let me check because I think. No, I guess not. I thought Urban will maybe won it at some point, but he's not on the list. Yeah, he did win it. He won it at Utah in 2004. He won it at Utah in 2004 because the year after Urban retired, when Urban was doing all that leadership stuff, I went in his office and interviewed him for a story, and he had the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award in his office. Oh. It was like very prominently displayed. And I was looking here, I was like, oh, I didn't win it at Florida because he won it at Utah in 2004. So like that's Urban Meyer and all the things that he's done. He had like, I think the award, I think it might be a bust of Eddie Robinson at this point that they give you.
Yeah.
So like it was in his office. This was not his coach's office. This was his assistant AD office. And that was important enough to be in there for him. So this is who Eddie Robinson is. This is how important he is in college football. Mickey Joseph said he just wants a clean game. He said he told his coaches, like, he just wants to make sure his guys line up right. Let's not have 9 guys on the field. Let's not have 13 guys on the field. This is the kind of thing we're talking about here. But they are coming off a win. Grambling State won 55-7 last week against Langston, which is an NAIA school, which I think as Grambling State is to Ohio State, Langston is to Grambling State. Like, I think that's a SAT question there, right? When you're an NAIA school. Of note, they're going to play 2 quarterbacks. So Xavion Tisset played 46 snaps last week at quarterback. He was 20 of 25 for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ashton Fry played 29 snaps last week. He was 6 of 8 for 44 yards and a touchdown. Mickey Joseph said this week, expect both quarterbacks. And I just would like to note, T-Set, who's a transfer in this year, is 6'3". Ashton Fry is 6'5". So the big quarterback is going to be in probably, and then the bigger quarterback will be in. So just be ready.
I think so. Like T-Set can run a little bit. I think Tim Walton might have been asked about that on Wednesday night. But what's interesting about that is like, so T-Set can run a little bit. I actually don't know about the other guy, but I know T-Set can. And then next week, not to jump the gun, Ohio State plays Parker Navarro, the quarterback of Ohio University, and he can run and scramble around like a madman. So I actually think there is something to be gained from playing two quarterbacks like that before you go play at Washington and have to figure out Demond Williams.
That's very well said. 5 different running backs for Grambling State last week had between 7 and 11 carries. So I think they're going to rotate a bunch of guys through there. But the real story, stay in your seat. Not that anybody who this is actually another reason to go get a $38 ticket and go to this game. Not that any Ohio State fan needs to be reminded. Don't forget, the band is good. Thanks, Doug.
3 bands. 3 bands in attendance this week.
Wait. So the world-famed Tiger Marching Band will perform for Grambling State. Who's the third band?
The alumni band, the OSU alumni bands.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's that. Who's the band that plays the new song they have?
Camp.
No, yeah. I thought maybe Camp was going to play.
Yeah, no.
So, Mickey Joseph, funny quote. He was asked about it. He said, it was one of those things like, what do you know about Ohio State? And his quote was, first of all, they've got a great band, and we have a great band, and we're going to compete as a band. And then he was like, and then it was just like nobody knew what to do with that. He's like, I'm joking. But he's also right. And this is one of the things that was super unfortunate in 2013, because I believe they're the Marching 100 is the Florida A&M band. They're also a fantastic college football band. And that was that whole thing was like, and that's what's going to happen here. Ohio State scheduled a fantastic band competition, and they're going to happen to play 2 halves of football around it. But in 2013, there was a hazing situation with the Florida A&M band, so they were suspended, so they couldn't come. And then once the band couldn't come, it was like, what are we doing here? So this will be better than that. So just like stay in your seat. Their band is coming. And they're awesome. They've played at the Super Bowl. Like, this is a tremendous band.
Yeah.
Obviously, Biddle's a tremendous band, and I think it's going to be fantastic to see them both perform.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. I wonder. So, like, usually when the alumni band is here, they do the quad Script Ohio. I wonder if they'll get the Grambling band involved in that at all.
I hope they do some fun stuff like that.
Yeah,
that would be great. That would be awesome. Again, we're referencing this Florida A&M game from 2013. This is the 5th FCS opponent, sort of like in modern times. Ohio State played Youngstown State in 07, 08, and 23. Florida A&M in 13. This game now, they do have New Hampshire on the schedule in 2027, Ryan Day's alma mater. And so back at the time, I was rereading my story that I wrote in 2013 when they played Florida A&M, and I said, Jim Delaney at the time was trying to get Big Ten schools to stop playing FCS schools. And I said, like, this was kind of a goofy game. Maybe it's the last of its kind, and it's not. Because at the time, it felt like, okay, Delaney's going to say you can't play these anymore. As it stands, according to the Ohio State game notes, there are 16 FCS, FBS matchups this weekend in college football, and 14 of the 18 teams in the Big Ten are playing an FCS school at some point this regular season. If you're going to do it, let it have meaning. So when Tressel played Youngstown State, that was cool. Having HBCUs come in here with their awesome bands and provide schools like that an opportunity to see Ohio Stadium and to expose the Ohio State fan base to these type of schools, there's a reason behind that. And playing Ryan Day's alma mater with Ryan Day as the head coach is also, there's a reason behind that, right? So at least they're not playing like random FCS school X that they're going to beat by 60. But also, do you think Ohio State should get out of the business of playing FCS schools?
I'm actually okay with it. As long as like if they were playing whatever, if they were playing 2 like bad G5 teams in an FCS school, obviously I wouldn't love that. But if you have Texas, I think you in some ways earn an FCS game. And I'm with you. Like, I think I would love if you could find some like additional meaning, whatever that matchup is, which I think this one has, and obviously playing Youngstown State does. So I'm okay with it.
But it's going to get ugly. 2013 game against FAU. Ezekiel Elliott, 14 carries, 162 yards. Braxton Miller, that was the second game that he was hurt. He had also missed the Cal game. So Kenny Guyton had to start 24 of 34, 215 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. Ohio State started pulling its starters in the second quarter. Cardale Jones, third string quarterback, second string quarterback for that game, started the second half. Ohio State outgained Florida A&M 603 yards to 80. But on the first drive, Kenny Guyton threw a pick in the back of the end zone. So first drive, end zone pick. Next 10 drives for Ohio State, touchdowns, punt, touchdown. And then they missed an extra point somewhere. So they didn't wind up with 77. They wound up with 76. You talked a little bit. Do you have any reason to suspect that this could be closer than that based on the type of team that Grambling State is compared to what Florida A&M was 12 years ago?
No, not really. That Florida A&M team did finish 3-9. They were in the MEAC then. They weren't in the SWAC. They finished 2-6, I think, in league play that year. This Grambling team was picked to finish 5th out of 6 teams in the SWAC West in the preseason ranking. So I don't think people are expecting this to be, and I think maybe every team in its division except for Grambling got a first place vote. So I don't think it's like a SWAC contender. And then if you look at how SWAC teams have fared against even just like FBS teams, not even necessarily Power 5 teams, it has understandably been a little ugly. And the last time Grambling played a Power 4 team was in 2023. They played LSU and lost 72-10. Okay.
So what do you want to see? What will you be looking for out of Ohio State in this game?
I think they're going to throw it a lot. Like coming off of a game where we talked about, like the rush rate was so high. They chose a style of play that was pretty buttoned up, and this is an opportunity, I think, to kind of let your receivers go have some fun and let Julian Sayin throw it around a little bit and have some and continue to build some confidence. So I think you're just going to see a lot of balls going to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes and probably Mylan Graham and maybe like a Quincy Porter and Bryson Rogers. I think they could all get involved. So I just don't know that there's much reason to like work out the kinks in your run game in a game like this, because I don't even know how useful that would be if you did it. So and I think you want to, like, you know, if you're going to ask fans to come to a game like this, you want to try to give them a little bit of a show. And obviously the way that Ohio State does that is by throwing the ball. So I think the thing that I'm most eager to see is, you know, Jeremiah Smith is really fun to watch. But I would like to see what some of these other receivers are capable of, like really everyone other than Jeremiah in the room. So that's what I'll be keyed in on the most, I think, in this game.
I'm very curious if like Jeremiah Smith plays more than 4 series.
Yeah.
I don't know. As we said, Cardale Jones started the second half in 2013. I think a lot of backups did. I would anticipate that. And I think maybe Julian Sayin gets the first half. Lincoln Keenholz gets the third quarter and half the fourth quarter. And then it's the question that I chose to ask. Questions are gold on Wednesday with Ryan Day. And I used one on, do you want to play Tavian St. Clair in this game? Do you think we'll see Tavian St. Clair?
Yes, but I don't know that we'll see him throw a pass. I think he might get like a couple series at the end.
It seemed like, and then I said, like, is he doing? How's he doing? Basically, how's Tavian St. Clair doing? And he said, like, they've been getting him. He's running the scout team a lot. He said they run the threes sometimes in practice, so he's getting a couple reps there. But he said, like, he's doing what he needs to do. So it would be fun. And here, listen, here's the thing. But even if you don't see Tavian St. Clair, you're going to see Bo Jackson at running back in this game, and maybe a lot. I actually would bet Bo Jackson leads the team in carries, or maybe Isaiah West, right? You're going to see Mylan Graham at receiver. You're going to see Bryson Rogers at receiver. You might see Quincy Porter at receiver, right?
You might see all those guys, because even like Phillip Bell lost his black stripe in camp. Like, you might see him too.
You're going to see Riley Pettijohn. You're going to see Peyton Pierce. You're going to see Aaron Scott and Bryce West. you're going to see all these guys. So like get ready and pay attention. And then the thing that's valuable, Bill, I do think is you get a sense of who really are the second team guys. Like we're going to be able to say definitively what's the second string offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is like sometimes do they do a depth chart anymore? They don't, right?
They don't. No.
So we're going to be tracking depth charts on Saturday.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to like actually get a pretty good feel for that. I think the one thing I do wonder is like Ohio State had a clean availability report going into Texas for the most part. I think even guys that maybe have been a little banged up still played. And it's not me like saying like breaking news, someone's injured. I just think like if anyone's got like a little bit of anything, you might put them as questionable for this game and try to not play them. So we might even see some second string guys start maybe in this game.
By the way, freshman quarterback CJ Stroud is a true freshman in 2020, played 1 snap against Rutgers in the 3rd game and played 6 snaps against Michigan State in the 6th game and had a 48-yard run in that game that everybody remembers, but he went into his season as a starter in 2021, having never thrown a pass in a college football game. Dwayne Haskins, for instance, as a true freshman in 2016, did not get in a game. Joe Burrow in 2015 as a true freshman did not get in a game. Kyle McCord started week 4 against Akron as a true freshman, which was unusual. But again, that's just a situation like Kyle McCord was the backup for CJ Stroud as a true freshman, right? So I think we might see a little bit of St. Clair keying on the backups, opportunity for some young guys to flash, but it will be among the most non-competitive Ohio State games you've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, I think you want it to be that way, right? If you're Ohio State, you don't want to go through a couple drives like, oh man, we gotta keep our starters in the second half. I don't think they'll be in that position. I think they'll put a lot of points on the board. People who are there, hopefully with the cheap ticket, will have a good time watching Ohio State score touchdowns.
So we're gonna guess the line's gonna be around 50. What is your score prediction for this game?
63-0.
Oh, come on. That's mine too.
I just asked myself, are they going to score 10 touchdowns? And I said, no, they'll score 9.
The game has shrunk. Yeah. It's just a little.
That's actually
the clock runs more.
And I wonder, like, will they play at a normal pace because they want to get some work in, or will they continue to play like they played slow last year? They played really slow against Texas. Will they play slow in this game? And like maybe it's only maybe they only have 9 possessions, right? And then will they score every time? I don't know.
I think Ohio State was forcing some turnovers, but in the Florida A&M game, I'm looking at the box score from that game. These are the lengths of Ohio State's first touchdown drives in that game. 4 seconds, 6 seconds, 36 seconds, 6:55, 4 seconds, 1:55, 3:19, 2:31. And then a couple more. So it's just like, I mean, they're turning it over and punching it in. So I didn't want to predict. We didn't want to predict 11 touchdowns for Ohio State. We didn't want to predict 10, but I think like 7's too low. So we both landed at 9 touchdowns, and I just don't think Grambling State will score.
I don't. So in looking at like SWAC versus FBS games in the last 2 years, there are a couple of shutouts. So.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt shut out Alcorn State last year. Michigan State shut out Prairie View A&M last year, and SMU shut out Prairie View A&M in 2023. And there's a bunch of like 3s and 7s in there too.
Okay, so that's what we're expecting. Last week you were right and I was wrong. You picked Ohio State to win. I picked Texas to win. So you're ahead in our Ohio State head-to-head showdown. And we'll see how we do this week. We will have our show on Friday morning where we make other national picks, talk about some other games. We'll talk about Iowa State. We'll talk about Oklahoma, Michigan. We'll talk about Kansas, Missouri. We'll talk about Oregon, Oklahoma State, stuff like that. And then we'll do the post-game show live here on YouTube on Saturday after the game, 3:30 kick. And Bill, you'll be there.
I will be in the shoe, and we'll see. I don't know if I'll go to Ryan Day or not. Maybe I'll just like join the show right away. Because last time you were kind of doing it by yourself for 50 minutes.
And the people don't like that.
So I'm sure some people like it. Yeah.
TMD.
Yeah. TMD. Too much Doug.
Please give us a band report. Lock in. I know someone asked you last week about halftime food, and you were like, I'm not into these hot dogs. So they're not going to be distracting you. You'll be locked in on the bands.
I will be locked in on the bands. I will not be eating hot dogs of concerning shade of color. Yeah.
Which is fine. But the band, good band, I'd rather have good bands, bad hot dogs than good hot dogs, bad bands.
Oh, yeah.
That's a trade-off you're willing to make every single time. All right. Number 1, Ohio State versus Grambling State, 1-0 versus 1-0. Thank you for being part of this. Catch us on our Substack, Bill and Doug OSU Substack. It's in the Google machine. You'll find it. Get our premium stuff over there. We did a great Wednesday show comparing the 2015 Ohio State team to this 2025 Ohio State team. That was a show for the premium folk. So if you're watching this and you think, man, that sounds like an interesting topic, come on over and join us. And also, we did What You Watching, What You Eating, What You Thinking, which some people seem to like, Bill.
They do seem to like that. We talked about laundry habits and apples.
Yeah. What else you want?
What more could you want? Yeah.
What more could you want? It really is more interesting than that made it sound.
It is actually. Yes, it is. Yeah.
So this will be our thing every week on Thursday, where we make our pick for the Ohio State game. When the game deserves it, this will be a big game breakdown. Ohio State Washington will be a big game breakdown, just like it was for Ohio State Texas. When the game does not deserve it because of circumstance, we'll do a shorter thing like this. So we appreciate you guys being here. For now, he's Bill Landis. I'm Doug Lesmerises, and that was the Bill and Doug Show.